Dan Illman, Mike Beer, Clocker's Corner, Santa Anita, home of the 2023 Breeders' Cup World Championships. Race number 7 is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. It's a grade 1. It's $1 million. We're going a mile on the turf. Before we get to our top selections, though, remember our 3 packages, DRF Players packages for the Breeders' Cup. Big deals, favorite handicapping products, must use for your Breeders' Cup handicapping. Check it out, shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Of course, it has an international flavor. You've got several horses coming in from overseas, but I really think we should talk about Cherie DeVaux's filly. Okay. The number 11, She Feels Pretty, was so impressive winning the Natalma. If anyone's going to beat these Euros, it could be her.
Yeah, maybe she's the American with the best shot in here, Dan. It kind of feels that way. She was awful good winning the grade 1 last time from just off the pace. Really strong finish that day. She was also really good first time out. I don't think she wanted any part of 5.5. She got the job done anyway.
She's the kind of filly that would appreciate a little bit of hitting up front. And you would think in a big field of 2-year-olds, there might be some pace. Dreamfire, the number 13's got a good amount of early speed. Yeah. 3 starts, she's been on the lead at the pace call of all of those races. I don't think they're changing tactics. I do wonder if the 1 Buttercream Babe just falls into a good pace tracking, ground saving trip.
It feels like there's a good trip coming for Buttercream Babe for sure from the rail. Outside of that, Dan, and you're right that Dreamfire could certainly make the lead even from post 13. I didn't see a ton of other pace in this race unless one of these Europeans gets really aggressive and tries to get forward.
Speaking of Buttercream Babe, she got fitness in her first 2 starts over that demanding European style course at Kentucky Downs. She showed up over this course in distance in her most recent start, the grade 3 Surfer Girl. She pushed a moderate pace set by Dreamfire.
Yeah.
Just couldn't push by, but it was a good performance nonetheless.
I mean, she ran well in that race. They both just sat up on the pace together. Buttercream Babe was right there with every chance through the stretch. She came out second best. Listen, they've kept this filly busy. Debuted August 31st. This is going to be her 4th start already in her career. She's run well in all of them, Dan, and you're right. I think there could be a really good trip coming here.
Flattery, though, might be the one you take out of the Surfer Girl simply because she had a lot of work to do going into that slow pace. The trip was fine. Yeah. She worked out the pocket trip, but the horses up front of her were walking. They went a half in 48-2. Flattery had to make up that late ground, and she was trying late. It broke a 2-race win streak, and at least it showed. If the pace is slow, she can adapt and stay close. I think she would prefer a little bit more to run at.
That's probably true. Listen, I like everything that you just said about her, and I won't disagree with any of it at a big price. I personally didn't see the excuse that I would want to give her out of the Surfer Girl, and I didn't want to take her out of that race.
The 3 Buku, I thought worked out a good trip winning her maiden. At Churchill Downs, 2 starts back, going a mile and a 16th. Again, working out the pocket trip. She really ran in the stretch, though, to win by 5. And then she proved that race was no fluke, winning the Jessamine at Keeneland on October the 6th. And in this race, she did get something to run at, but she was very strong in the stretch.
She really was. I mean, each of her last 2 starts, they're sort of identical to each other with big finishes through the stretch. Last time she had a little bit more pace in front of her. They were very patient with her around the final turn, but she fired when she came clear in the stretch. You can't argue with what she's done in her last 2 starts.
Here's an interesting invader from overseas, the number 4 Lone, a horse that was a Group 3 winner going 7/8 of a mile. Hasn't gone a round of ground yet, but going 7/8 in France makes me think she'll be able to get the distance, and she does have the pedigree to do so. Her most recent start, I thought she ran a good second in the pre-eclipse going 6 furlongs. She came home her final 3/8 in 33 and change. The winner of that race is pretty good. Came back to run second in a Group 2 in France. Went to public auction, bought for almost $800,000. Now it filled the model.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with any of that stuff. That I don't care about the stretch out to a mile here. I don't think it's going to work against this filly. Her overall form is really good. There is a Group 2, 2 starts back, going 7 furlongs, where she was no match for a filly who's back in this field. But this horse drew very well. That horse did not.
The big question, another big question. The big question. The big question is class, distance, etc. Can she handle firm going? She's run on nothing but really soft or heavy ground over there in France. I think she might kick on late. Content is the number 5. You're getting Ryan Moore, you're getting Aidan O'Brien, you're getting 15-1. You got 20-1 on O'Brien last time out without Moore in a Group 3. This does seem like a tougher spot.
It does feel like a tougher spot. I'm going to give you that one. She was disappointing 2 starts back. My personal take on that race is that was softer ground. She hated it. She never really picked her feet up, and it was a bad performance. And she bounced back in a big way last time. Sat on the outside, always looked like she was going to win, and she won easy.
And she's got Moore, who is an astute judge of pace. And if you look over some of this horse's races, she's shown a little bit of speed. And if no one wants to go, maybe Ryan takes the bull by the horns. The 6 is Porta Fortuna. This horse was a Group 1 winner last time out, going 3/4 of a mile. Now they're going to stretch out to a mile, and I think there's a little bit of a question mark.
I'm worried about the distance with her, maybe more than some of the other horses shipping over for this race, Dan. I do like her overall form. I do think she can get a good trip in this race because she's been pretty handy in her sprint races over there. If the trip works out, I think she can be there. I'm not sure that 5-1 morning line is that enticing.
Perhaps those stretching out, if she breaks, and that's a big question for all European runners, if she breaks, maybe stretching out will allow her to get close to the pace. Galabrand needs pace. Yeah. This horse has some talent for trainer Bill Mott. She rolled home to win her maiden going 5.5 furlongs. She rolled home to win the Grade 3 with anticipation, first time 2 turns. And last time out in the Miss Grillo, maybe didn't get the setup she needed.
That's how I looked at it. I don't think that trip really worked out that well for her at all. The pace wasn't fast. She was at the back, as she always is. She had to stay towards the inside, final turn all through the stretch. But she ran again, Dan. She's run in all 3 of her starts, beat the boys 2 starts back. Carson's runs, comes back out of that race to win a Grade 1 up in Canada. I mean, this filly's overall form is really good, even if the figures don't suggest that she's a standout.
Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, 15-1 on the 8. Life's an Audible, maiden winner going 5.5 in her turf debut. Stretched her out to a mile and a 16th in the Miss Grillo. Got up close to that moderate pace, Mike, but was running on at the end. I think she's progressive.
I'll agree with that. I mean, listen, I liked her turf debut. It was 5.5, which doesn't really seem like it's going to be her game, but she got the job done anyway with a big late run. She ran fine last time, Dan. I didn't see any excuse for her. I didn't think there was any way to justify her, having some kind of excuse behind the winner that day. She had a good trip. She ran at the end. The winner was just a little bit better.
I think one of the European sleepers is the 9, Carla's Way for Simon Crisford, winner of the Group 2 Rockfell Stakes, going 7/8 of a mile over firm ground last time out. The 2nd and 3rd place finishers, well, they came back to run 2-1 in the Group 1 Fillies Mile up at Newmarket. So Carla's Way was beating some good horses that day.
Yes, she was. 2 short fields in her last 2 starts. I don't know if that's a concern or not. It's just something to take note of. I think the big difference between those 2, Dan, is the softer ground 2 back. Maybe that was an excuse for her because she had every chance to win that race, and it kind of felt like she didn't see out to 7 furlongs that day. She got really tired at the end. It wasn't a problem with her last time. She looked strong throughout. She finished the race off. Maybe she wants firm ground.
I have such great respect for Brendan Walsh as a trainer, and he's having such a phenomenal year. He'll send out the unbeaten number 10, Austere, 2 for 2 in her career, including this win in the rich Juvenile Fillies Stakes at Kentucky Downs, going a mile. Now, she won this race. We know the Kentucky Downs can be a little bit quirky, and some horses don't like it. But so far, this race has not come back strong. 4 next out runners, none hit the board. Best buyer of 72. I like the tactical speed she has.
Agreed. I don't like the races that she's run in so far, but I like what she's done in them. I'm not sure how you want to split that when it comes to this race coming up, Dan, unless you just wait and see what kind of price she's in. If she's a big one and you like what she's done, you just use her. I think she can run. I just don't love the races she's been in.
She Feels Pretty is 2 for 2. She earned an 85 buyer speed figure winning this race. The Grade 1 Natalma up at Woodbine going a 1-turn mile. She shrugged off a bump at the start. She made an outside bid on the turn, and she is getting away. She's not just getting away from an average field. She's getting away from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 next out winners.
Yeah, she ran really, really well in this race. And again, that's off of a debut going 5.5, which it seemed like she just didn't want any part of it. She won anyway because she has a big kick to her through the stretch. Really impressive last time. She looks like the strongest American hope in this field. She didn't draw that well. I'm not sure how much it matters.
That race went faster than the summer for the boys at a mile on the turf that very same day at Woodbine. Hard to Justify is the number 12, another one that's 2 for 2. Here's her win in the Miss Grillo over Life's an Audible, a race where I think Hard to Justify had to do a little bit of work. It was her first start since late summer. She got close to the pace. The pace wasn't fast, but I think it was a good prep. She needed a hard race, I think, first off a short layoff, and she got it.
I'm going to agree with that. She got a perfect trip to win this race, and it's a 1,000,000-to-1 shot that she's shrugging off there past mid-stretch, but she did shrug that horse off and then go on with it. She improved her figure as well. Her debut may not look like much, Dan. She had tons of trouble in there, overcame it, and still won.
Dreamfire is the 13, potential speed of the race. She is 3 for 3. 2 wins on dirt, a graded stake. 1 win on turf, a graded stake. Here it is, the Surfer Girl. They basically ran 1, 2, 3 around the track. Buttercream Babe's going to try to make it close. Flattery's going to run third. Dreamfire, who was brilliant in her first 2 starts, showed a little guts and determination here.
Yeah, she really did. I mean, overall, the trip was a really soft one. The pace wasn't fast. They let her cut the pace. Buttercream Babe sat up there with her, but wasn't really pressing her. They did pick it up around the final turn, though. They were really racing through the stretch, and Dreamfire came out on top.
Le Pavot, the number 14, the final horse in the body of the field, took the measure of Lone, the D'Amato runner, in the Group 2, 2 starts back, going 7/8 of a mile. I thought she ran just fine last time out, going a mile. Another issue, though, nothing but good to soft ground races.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see how she handles firmer turf shipping over here to North America, and obviously the outside post could be a major drawback for her. She's going to need some kind of a trip, but her overall form is excellent. The big win 2 starts back, coming from last. They were walking early in that race. She came from last and won easy. I thought she ran really well last time, Dan. That Opera Singer controlled the pace, sprinted home, and this filly had no chance, but she was making up ground at the end. Huge pedigree for this filly. Tough post, but she can run.
The 2 also eligibles have to improve. Maybe Go With Gusto seems like the better one, even though she's still a maiden. She ran a good third in the summer last time out, and she was going against boys in both starts.
Yeah, I would like her. If she got it, I would certainly be using her. I don't know if she's going to get that scratch she needs.
Top pick time for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Mike, where are you going?
I'm going to go with the outside in here with Le Pavot, Dan. I don't like the post for her. I do like her races, though. I think if she can get the right trip in here, it's a field that she can beat. I put 2 other Europeans right behind her, 4 and 5 and then 4.
I do have a lot of respect for the North American-based runner for Cherie DeVoe. She feels pretty. I'm going to give Lone 1 chance, though, however. I like the way she flew home last time out, going 3/4 of a mile. We'll see if she's ready to roll. She already has a work here over the training track for Phil D'Amato. Should be a good edition of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf, and we're kicking off with pick 4. Best of luck.